Hello there. I have made a Disney.com landing page clone only using pure CSS and HTML. So, if you take a look at these two websites, could you tell which one is the real one? I'm going to tell you which one it is. It is this one. Now I'm going to show you how I made this exact clone and walk through all of my code. Now I have made a Git repository so you can clone some boilerplate code and get all the images also, so you can follow along with me and also implement your own solutions. Now I'm by no means an expert, I'm just learning the code and sharing my journey with you. So if that sounds interesting, then put on your best costume, because now we're getting coding. Okay, so to get started, you could copy my code from my Git repository or just get a link from the YouTube description. And then you can open a new terminal in your IDE or code editor and then simply type in git clone, and then you can paste in the link and you should get all my code here. So I have a finished project here, as you can see. And then I have also the boilerplate code with everything that you need. I'm going to start with adding a container, which we are later on going to put a Flexbox on. And then I'm going to start with the navigation menu. So I'm going to put nav, ul, and then li a times 4. So this is just using Emmet abbreviation, which is just a plugin that you can add to VS Code. So basically we have an unordered list right here, and I'm actually going to take away that one. I'm instead going to have an image here, and I'm going to add the logo.png image. So I'm just going to type that in. And then I am going also just to put in empty links all over here. And then I am going to type in Disney Plus. Now I am not going to do font awesome, simply because it just wouldn't work on my computer. I don't know, I'll have to look into it later on. And now let's look what we have right here. Okay, and it seems like we have gotten everything displayed. So I am going to start with setting up the container, and I have some basic CSS already here to start. I have just set the scroll behavior to smooth, just so it will scroll a bit nicer. And then I have set everything to be a box sizing of border box. I have set all the margin and padding to 0, and I have set our default font family. Okay, so I am going to start with setting the container, and I'm going to set it to a display of flex. I'm going to do flex direction of column, and I am going to do max. I'm going to do a width of 80%. Oops, 80% I think, and then a margin of 0 auto. And also right here I'm going to put a border of 1 pixel dotted magenta, and this is simply just going to put a border and everything, so you can much easier see the box model and how everything affects each other. So if we have our here we have our body, and right here we have our Flexbox container, which is going to contain everything neatly here inside, right here. So I'm going to go into the unordered list, and I am just going to give this a class of navigation menu, and then I'm going to go into .nav menu, and I'm also going to give this a display of flex. I'm going to do list style of none. Let's see. Cool. And then I'm going to do align items center, and yeah, that looks pretty okay. I'm going to do gap of 1 em, Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going to do 2M. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. And then I'm going to go into .nav menu .li.a, and I'm going to do text transform uppercase in case I forgot, and if I can spell it correctly too. I'm going to do text decoration of none, so that will take out that line. And then I am going to do color, and I'm going to do a very dark gray color. I'm going to do 333, and it looks a bit better. And I'm also going to do font weight of 700, if I remember my semicolon. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. I just have to fix the logo image. So I'm also going to do, I'm going to set the default for images. I'm going to do max width 100% and set a default of display block. Right, and now I'm going to go into my specific, and I'm going to do .image, and I'm going to set width of let's try just 50 pixels. Okay, that's a bit too small. I'm going to do 100. Okay, that looks about right, I think. Yeah, that looks like a start. Oh, yeah. Oh, right. I forgot. Yeah, so we are actually going to start with the mobile version just because it's a lot easier to create responsive designs when you start with mobile, because then you can just change a bit with the flex properties. So I'm going to go back into my code, and I'm going to split all the other items except for the image to none so that they won't show. And then I am going to go into my nav menu, and I'm going to set justify content of center. And also I think I'm going to remove the flex cap, and we should have the logo center right now, and it's also looking kind of big, so I'm going to change that too right here, and I'm going to set the width to 100 pixels, and it looks a little bit too big. I'm going to go back and change it to 80 pixels. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, so now we gotta add this. So as you can see, there's kind of like a container that repeats for every new section. So I'm going to create one div called content container, and then I'm going to set an image, and then I'm going to have another div here using Flexbox to display everything properly. Okay, so let's get down with that. So let's start with the HTML. So right here, I'm going to set to I'm going to set this to section. I'm just going to do div of section. Okay, and then I'm going to add an image. Oh yeah, right. Okay, let's see. Nice. Okay, so now I'm going to add the also you can add it alt, but I'm not going to do this because I'm not going to publish this website. And then I'm going to do section content, and I'm going to add this image. Yeah, cool. Okay, and now I'm going to add a P. Okay, cool. So now we can just type now at the cinema or watch with Disney Plus. Cool. And then I'm going to have two buttons. So I'm just going to type button times 2. And then I'm going to type in book tickets. And type in look at Disney Plus. Alright, that should be all my HTML for this content. Okay, and also I'm going to give this a specific ID of Encanto, so we can specifically section down this. So I'm just going to do like that. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go into Encanto, and I am going to start with adding a background color of, let me just see what I used the last time. It was this color right here. And if you're wondering where I got these colors, I just went into inspect and then I found these colors. And I'm going to set the min height of 40 VH just so to help visualize it a bit more. And I'm going to set font color to FFF. Yes. I'm going to go into hashtag encanto.content, and I was going to add margin.top of 2M, I think will be good. Nice. And now I'm going to turn this into a Flexbox container. Cool. Align items, center, and let's see how that looks. And I'm going to do text align center. Nice. And now I'm going to add some gap too. Yeah, that's too much gap. Okay, I'm going to style the buttons now. So I'm just going to select with compound selectors button, and I'm going to do background color of that, and I'm going to do the color of this one. Right, and then I'm going to add some border radius, and I'm going to do just 5 pixels, and I'm going to set font size to 1.5 rem and padding of 0 to m. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's a little bit too big. Also, now when we're doing the mobile, we can obviously do just 100 VH. We should also set the minimum height of 100 VH, and this is already supposed to be VW. Okay, that looks a bit better. Yeah, so the buttons are too big, so I gotta change that. The font size is too big. Let's see this. Yeah, that is too small. I am going to do font weight of 1.2 rem and font size of 1.2 rem and font weight of 700. Let's try that. Okay, maybe it doesn't use. It's not really. I want to have them at the same width, so I'm probably going to set a width of 25%. And then I'm going to just set this to 0. Cool, but we obviously want more than that. We probably want something more like 50. Yeah, and we want to also increase the border radius. I'm going to increase it to 15 pixels. And I am going to increase the width to 60%. And I'm going to add a bit more padding. Okay, that looks about alright. Okay, cool. Now I just gotta fix this image. Oh, and we also got the wrong image, damn it. Let's see. We have the image poster on the Canto, but that's not the image we want. We want the image. Let's see if we can find it. Here, we want Encanto small.jpg. I'm sorry for my pronunciation. Encanto.small.jpg. Okay, now it looks pretty decent. We'll probably have to do some cleaning up on this to make sure everything is properly working. But I think this is a good start. Now I'm going to go into the next section, which is going to be this. So I'm going to jump right into my HTML, and I am just going to select this entire section, and I am going to copy it down. And now this is going to be Disney Plus instead. And the first image is instead going to be that one of Boba Fett. And let's see, Boba Fett poster small, I think it's called. So let's do that. .jpeg. And then I'm going to change also to Disney Plus content. And then I'm going to change this to Boba Fett logo also. .png. Okay, cool. Yeah, I set the minimum height. Yeah, I'm going to just do this for everyone as a default. So I'm going to do .section instead. Okay, that looks a bit better. And also I'm going to want some margin.bottom between each of this. So I'm going to do margin bottom, and I'm going to do 1em. Okay, so that looks like a good start. Also, the buttons probably need a bit margin, so I'm going to do margin. Probably like padding is better. Bottom of 1em. Let's see how that looks. Probably need a bit more. I'm going to do 2em. Maybe even more. 3em. Yeah, now that looks pretty good. Okay, the next section. So there's kind of like a container within everything also, which makes everything not reaching the corners. Now we could do this with padding, and I think that might be the easiest solutions. However, I'm kind of like when scaling up with the responsiveness, then we might want the padding to increase, and it's probably the easiest way to do that is probably just using a width. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to now select Boba. I'm going to select Disney Plus, and I'm going to set width of 80%. Yeah, I'm going to move this image down, and then I'm going to do Disney Plus.content, and I am going to do width of 80%. Cool. Then I'm going to do margin 0 auto to center it. Alright, now that looks about right, but we probably want it a bit wider, so I'm going to change it to 90%. And like, I think it's about right. And then we want to add some margin bottom right here. So I am going to, like, we could probably just copy this basic styling over here. So I'm going to change this to section content. Cool. And now we have this default styling here too. And we want to change this text just to coming to Disney Plus. So I am going to change this to coming to Disney Plus on December the 29th. And then we also want to select this very specific button. So I think this will work as the default styling. So I'm just going to so this will work as default styling. So I'm just going to do button right here. Now we have our default styling, but we are going to change. We don't need this one, we just need this one. And it's going to be register. And then I am just going to select that one very specifically using compound selectors, and we are going to change the background color of this to kind of like a light blue. So I'm going to do color of hashtag FF for the font color. Then I'm going to look through for this very light blue color. Jump right back, and we are going to do background color and that RGB value. Cool. Okay, that looks about right. And then we want this kind of cards, and this card's going to repeat right here also. So I'm going to create a new class just for these specific cards. So I'm going to go into my div, and this is going to be a part of the content, and I'm going to create a card, and I'm going to add an ID of Christmas card, and I am going to add a new card, and I'm going to edit ID of Hawkeye. Then I'm going to start with adding in the images. So the image is going to be Hawkeye. Let's see if I can find the image right here. There. And we have the names Disney Plus card 1 and Disney Plus card 2. So that we're just going to type in Disney Plus card 1 and Disney Plus card 2. And don't forget to check that you typed everything right, because I also always type everything wrong. Add.jpg. Right, cool. Finally, we have the images, and now I'm going to do an h2 tag, a p tag, and then a bold p tag. So I am going to do an h2 from all of us to all of you. Then I'm going to do a p tag, and I am just going to very quickly copy all of this content right here. Then I'm going to add a line break, and then I'm going to add another p tag, and I'm going to add a strong tag, and I'm going to type in Disney Plus. And then I'm just going to do the same thing here for the other card, which I'm going to put in right now. Okay. Okay, let's look through this. Okay, now it looks about right. Now we want a display of flex on this. So I am going to do a display of flex. I'm going to jump into my style sheet. Card display of flex. I'm going to do flex direction of column, and let's just see how that looks. Okay, we want this other color also, so I'm going to add the background color, and I think it was the light blue we wanted, right? Or maybe it was another color. I'm going to quickly check. Okay, so now I have my color, and I'm going to type it right in. And cool, we have the color right here. I'm going to add some gap right here, and I am going to do a text align of left. Okay, and I am going to do add some padding also. And the thing is that we want the padding to be on everything except for the image. So I am going to create another div that I'm going to call card content, and then I am going to move everything up here, and I'm going to do the same here. Okay, cool. Let's see if the styling is still working pretty good. Yeah, and then I'm going to jump into my style sheet, and then I'm going to select card content, and I'm going to do a padding of 1em. Okay, now that looks quite good. I'm probably going to do like 0, 1, 1, and 1. Okay. And I think that is a good start. We probably just want to add a bit more of a gap. Okay. Yeah, okay, yeah, wait, there's a small problem. I think gap of 0.5 is cool, and then we also have to do a display of flex. Or we could just make it very simple for us. We could just do car content everything, and then we could do margin dot bottom of 0.5em. Okay, that is very cool. And so I think that looks alright, although the text looks a little bit too thick. So I think I'm going to go and I'm just going to change this to H3, and I'm going to change this to H3. And I think it looks a little bit better. I'm going to go into my style sheet, and I'm going to do .car.h3. Then I'm going to do font weight of 400. Font size of the P card. So of the paragraph, and I'm going to change the font size to be 0.8 rem. And also I am going to change the line height. You know what? I think this goes for all P tags. I'm going to set this as the default. I'm going to set some letter spacing of 0.2em, line height 1.5em. Let's see how this looks like. Did we set the font also? Yeah, we did set the font, so that shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, now it looks a bit too spaced out, so I'm going to change this to 0.1. Okay, yeah, that looks about right. Okay, we'll move on to this image right here. So if we take a look at this, it's just an image, so I am going to add it right in. So we could exit our card, and then we could do image, and then I think that the image is called, let's see if I can find it. You're right, it's Disney Plus brands dot png, and also we want to add image slash. Okay, cool, the image has been added. Now we're going to put in a button, and we're just going to type register now, and let's see. Cool, we got a button, but now we have, I'm going to give it just, and I'm just going to do, okay, let's just do style color hashtag ff, and then background color hashtag this color. Now it should change. Alright, now we did it the reverse. So we want to type this to be background color, and this one to be that color. Yeah, okay, right. So we're just gonna type it right in there. Cool. Okay, and now I am going to add this little piece of text right here. So if I enter my HTML, I am going to add terms apply sec 89, which is about $10 in US dollar, slash month or sec 890 a year. Okay, I think that's all right and fine. Now we're going to do this section, which will be the shop. So I am going to go in and I am going to create a new section. And I am also going to just copy this div right here. And I'm going to add a new one here. And now I'm going to change this ID to shop. And I'm going to change this to shop content. And now we want the image instead to be this one. So I am going to fix that. And it's just mimipig.jpg. And the logo will be, let's see, shop logo.png. Do it png, and we are also going to add an h2 called shop. Okay. Yeah, that has added everything in. But we need to fix some default styling, because for the shop we want the background color to be, it's not completely white, it's pretty whitish color. And then we want the font color to be what we have previously used as the background color. So copy this and bring it down. Okay, cool. And then obviously we also gotta center everything. So we gotta do hashtag shop h2 text align center. Cool. And we also gotta do the same thing here that we did previously, where we add some padding. So okay, so we're going to create some padding. So I'm just going to do padding 1em. Let's see how that looks like. Yeah, that looks about right. And then we gotta make this image smaller. So I'm going to do hashtag shop. And I think this image is right here. So I'm going to do a direct child. And then I'm going to set the width to 150 pixels. That was not the image I was... okay, let's instead do an attribute selector. I think that will be the most accurate one. So I'm just going to copy this. And I'm going to just copy it right into here. And now it will select this image. And we probably need to make it about twice as big. And now it's too big, so let's change that to 250. And that looks much better. And now we need to change this text. We want this to be all your favorite Disney project, all your favorite products in one place. All your favorite Disney products in one place. Okay, and then we're just going to write buy now, so we don't need any of these buttons. Buy now. Okay, cool. That looks pretty decent. Now I'm going to do movies, and I am simply going to make a Flexbox container. So I am going to do div.movies, and I'm going to put in parentheses .movie dash .movie dash $sign times 3. Now we're going to get 3 movies here, and we are going to go into each of these, and we're going to add an image and a text and some text. So firstly we're going to add an image, and this is going to be image slash movie1.jpg. And then I'm going to copy this down, and this will now be movie2.jpg. Then I'm going to copy this down, and it will be movie3.jpg. And then we need to add some text. So this needs to be light year, and this is going to be just red, and this is going to be Eternals. Let's see how that looks like. Cool. And now I'm going to go into my style sheet. Dot movies display flex. Okay, that looks pretty decent already. And I'm going to do text align dot left. I need to add some margin. So I'm just going to do dot movie, and I'm going to do margin dot right 0.5 m, and probably also just margin dot bottom 0.5 m. Yes, sir. And also we will probably want to select movie free, and we want to make sure that that one has no margin right. And then I'm going to also increase this margin probably a little bit to margin 1em, and then I'm going to go into the p tag of these, and I'm going to make them bold. Okay, now this looks pretty neat. Now we are going to do the cards again. Firstly though, I'm just going to add this short h2 header, parks. So I'm going to jump back right into here, and then I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to do h2, and then I'm going to do parks, and now I'm going to do the card section again. So I'm just going to go right into my cards, and I'm going to copy this whole section down, and I am going to move this down right where I want them, here. So if we take a look, then they should be right here. But now we want to change this content. First we want to change the images, so let's do that. And also we're going to change this, so I'm just going to change this to Mickey Mouse because it has Mickey Mouse on it. And then I'm going to change this just to girl content. That sounds a bit weird. And then this is going to be Mickey Mouse content. Okay, and now I am going to change the image. So let's look right here, and we need Walt Disney World.jpg, I think it is. Walt Disney World.jpg. And it updated the image, and the other image is, let's look if we can find it. Oh, okay, here we have it, Disneyland Paris. So I am just going to change this to Disneyland Paris.jpg. And now we got the images. And also we need to change the background color because we want them to. So I'm going to change it to, so let's see, hashtag Mickey Mouse, hashtag girl, and let's do background color of white. Okay, that looks like a good start. And also I think these are a bit more blackish, so I think we also want to change the color of all of this. I don't know, I think it looks pretty alright. Okay, book early. So we gotta change that. Book early. Get access to our best prices and flexible booking. To our best prices and flexible booking. And then we want it to be, say, Disneyland Paris. Cool. And for this one, we want park tickets for 2022. And we want from attractions to experiences and so much more. From attractions to experiences and so much more. Cool. And now we have a lonely P tag here. Very nice. And we want to add some padding right here. So I am going to go into hashtag Mickey Mouse content and hashtag girl content. and padding of 1em. Alright, it's classes. So we gotta change this to dot and dot. Okay, now that looks alright. And now we have to add this part right here. And I'm going to add it as part of the HTML. So let's see, we have a section here. And I'm probably just going to add it right here. I'm just going to call this newsletter. And I'm just going to add some very easy text. Sign up and become part of the Disney family. And then I'm going to just go into some very simple styling and do newsletter. I'm going to do width of 100 VH, height of 3em, background color of this light blue color that we previously used. If I can select it. Cool. Let's go scroll down. Use it. And also going to set color to white. This and text align to center. And it looks quite off because it seems to be a part of the Flexbox container, so I'm just going to move this one step down, and let's see. Yes, now it seems to display properly. And I'm probably just going to do a display of flex just because it's easy. And then justify content center, align items center. We also want to change this one to be Walt Disney Wall, I think it was. Yes. And then also there is a lot of margin right here that we really don't want. So let's see. If we go into hashtag girl and margin dot bottom 0. Let's see, also crop also. And there is still some things over there. So we also want to set padding dot bottom to 0. And now we finally get rid of that. And now I can just set the newsletter margin the top to 1em. Cool. Now we finally just need to add the footer. So I am very simply going to add a footer. Let's go down here, and I am going to, I don't know if I should add it to the Flexbox container. Actually, I don't think I'm going to do that. I can always change it later. And I'm going to go right into here, and I'm going to add footer. And I'm going to have a social media div. And I'm just going to type into here, follow Disney on. And then I am going to have a links page, logo.png. Then we're just going to have a bunch of links here. That looks much better. And then finally we need just kind of like a trademark thing. So I'm just going to call this trademark. And I'm just going to put right here in Disney. Okay, cool. Right, now we also want to add the content right here, so I'm going to add it in. Okay, so now we added the content in, and now we just gotta make it all look nice. So I'm going to start with going to my footer, and I'm going to do a display of flex, And then flex.direction is going to be column. I am going to do line items center. And then I'm just going to do padding 2M, I think. Okay, that looks good as a start. Then I'm going to go into .social media. I'm going to do font size of 1.5 rem, and then I'm going to do align cell flex.start. Okay, that looks pretty good. Then we gotta change the image because it's way too big. So I'm going to go into footer image, and I'm just going to set the width to 100 pixels. Cool, that looks better. And also, why aren't the items properly lining up? Well, that's also because we have a link tag. So I am going to go into my style sheet, and I'm going to do dot links text align center. Yes, and we need to let's see, text decoration none, color hashtag free, and why, let's just do that, much better. And why won't it align to the center? Thank you, please. Okay, so we just had to add text align center right here. Now it looks a bit better, and also we need to add some margin. So I'm going to do margin bottom of 4M. Let's try that. Cool, that looks like a little bit too much, so I'm going to do 3M. And also that did not inherit, so I'm going to do social media P, and then I'm going to do font size 1.5 rem. Okay, that's a bit too big. I'm going to do 1.25. Okay, that's a bit much better. And then I'm going to go also here, I'm going to change font size to 0.8 rem. And then I'm going to do just word spacing 0.2m and line height 1.5m. Let's see how that looks. Let's do 3m. Will that change? Yeah, that's too much. Let's do 2m. And that looks kind of good. Also, I'm going to do, let's see, I'm going to do footer image, and I'm going to do margin bottom of 1m. Okay, cool. And then we just gotta finally fix this trademark here, and I'm going to do dot trademark, and I'm going to do color of hashtag 333. No, I don't need to make that important. And we want to make the font size a lot smaller. Jeez. Let's just do 0.65 rem. Cool. And maybe also just decrease the padding, because I think it's a bit much. Yeah, I think that is better. And then we could also change this back to 0.7. And then we probably want to add some margin dot bottom of 1m. Fix it right there. And I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. Okay, that's a little bit too big. And text align the center. Okay, yes. Okay, now let's take a look at the web page. So I am going to go to the top, and I'm going to remove this, and now let's take a look. The logo here on top is a bit crammed, so I'm just going to start by changing that. So I'm going to do, no, what we probably want is padding, so I'm just going to do, will that work? Yeah, that worked fine, but it's just too much. Still too much, kind of. Let's just do 1M. Okay, that's cool. And there's a lot of small things we could fix here. The border radius is a bit too small. We could increase the border radius so that it matches a bit more. Also, there shouldn't be any border. And then the image here is a bit too big. We can always make it smaller and fix very small details. But I think the important stuff is there. You could yourself tickle up a bit with it so that it looks good. But oh, here we have a small thing we should probably fix. So I'm going to, let's see, it's right up. I'm just going to very quickly just do Disney Plus margin dot bottom 0. Let's see, did that fix it? Yes, it did. Shop, you see, could add some more margin here, make it look a bit better. Okay, that looks a bit better. And let's just check everything else. And yeah, I think that is pretty much all the important stuff. And as I said, you can always look through this yourself. You can just pick up a little bit. It's not exactly what I did before, because then I also just tinkered a lot on much more of the details. But I think I've covered the important stuff. And now we're going to make sure that it actually is responsive and that it properly scales. As we can see, there are some problems here that we now gotta fix to make sure. There are some new images, so let's fix that now. I'm going to upload part 2 tomorrow so that you can follow along and make sure that everything is responsive and that we make the desktop version too so that everything looks perfect. So subscribe to not miss that, and you can also follow my blog, which is linked in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.